Oh, never mind. That's my phone. I'm sorry. What's going on? Happy Sunday to you guys. Welcome to another episode of the Knucklehead Chronicles podcast. In the building is right now. I'm rolling solo. Not sure where my guys are. I know Kevin is doing a reboot, but I am here. So make sure you guys go ahead and share the broadcast out. Listen to this. When I tell you guys this week, I have an amazing. I mean, amazing does that? I think it's six amazings. Listen, you want to stay tuned. Share the broadcast out. And I'm gonna be right back here in just a second. Okay.
Ladies and gentlemen, let's get ready to rumble!
And welcome back, man. We are in the building today. I'm not sure where my guys are, Dwayne and Ephraim. I think the time change. There's a time change today, yeah? Right? There's a time change. And so I think they got caught up in the time change. Ain't that something? All right. Well, I'm glad you guys are here. The people that I have in, thank you. If you're on YouTube, thank you for coming through. I think this is on Periscope as well, even though Periscope is going away. So thank you guys for being here as well. Like I said before, I have an amazing guest. I'm sharing in some groups on Facebook. So if I got my head down, that is why. Okay. Well, since my guys are not here, that's one of them. That's my man. We're gonna bring him on board. What up, Trouble?
What's going on, fellas?
What's going on? It's just us. Kevin had to do a reboot, and then I'm not sure what Dwayne is, but we're gonna rock it anyway. I have my guest on, and she is in the background. But let me do my normal stuff. If you guys want to follow the podcast on the Patreon, it's patreon.com/KT Podcast 2021. Also, you can grab the merch at teespring.com/stores/KCP Podcast on Teespring. I got some amazing merch on there. I have one of my shirts today. Because it's laundry day. You know how that is, right?
Yes, sir.
All right. You can also follow us on the website at knuckleheadchroniclespodcast.com. You can see past episodes and also past guests. And if you want to stay notified throughout the week with the podcast, you can also text the word Knucklehead to 845-845-76. And you can get that motivational word from me all week long, but I haven't had anybody subscribe yet, but it's okay. So if you're watching, if you would like to get a text message other than waiting for your notifications on Facebook, I can send you those every Sunday. All right, so Knucklehead 84576. Also on Tuesday, this podcast is the audio of this podcast is live. It goes live on Tuesdays at 3 p.m. Eastern Standard Time on the Live 365 app. Just go on, download that. It's going to be just do a search for soundmachine.fm on that particular app. What's up, K Peep in the building? I'm glad you got that started. And so today, before we get into our guests, I'm gonna have to ask my guys, man, how was your week? How did it go? What's going on?
I'm looking.
Ephraim, how's it going?
I ain't want to jump from the kill. Kev on, we got something going on, man. Yeah, chilling, man. Full of some good news, man. Hopefully I'll be sharing some stuff with y'all shortly, but good week.
That's what's up. Well, I can tell you the first thing that I see is that you have upgraded your camera. Your camera is now seems like it's in 4K. Is that what's going on?
A little something, man.
Definitely, I'm not mad at you. KP, man, how was your week, man? How was your week?
My week was a lot more chill than last week, as you see. I mean, my finger healed, cutting it half off, y'all.
That's because
no longer in pain. We start baseball season's coming up real soon for Little League that I coach. I'm excited to get out here with the little Rasp and get this thing for y'all. See us on ESPN, balling kids.
Okay.
And I'm excited, man. I just
be on the ESPN. Okay.
Yeah, we're gonna try. We got a squad. I love these kids. These are very talented. You know, they remind me a little bit of my Little League when I was playing ball back in the day. But don't nobody compare to that squad, man.
That's right.
Yeah.
Y'all ain't had an ESPN though.
We didn't have no
They
ESPN.
have that over here. That's the one thing they have.
No, we didn't have ESPN either. My little league in my hometown was trash. But anyways, that's besides the point. I will tell you guys about my week, if I may. Your boy went absolutely viral on TikTok. Well, I had a viral video go this week.
You sure did.
I'm like,
that's amazing. How did it feel?
Let me tell you something, man. I've been fielding comments and messages and all week long, and it's always somebody's commenting, and I always get notification when somebody, comments or notifies. And it's like, oh my God. But let me tell you something about people. People are crazy.
Yeah, I read some comments.
If anybody's watching this and you don't understand that people are crazy, they're crazy. Because the video that I did, and the officer that we're going to be talking about later on, when I tell you these people, and there was so many people that were for it, and it was like they were begging me, like, "Yo, give me the number to the police department. Give me that. Let's help you." Because if you don't know anything about TikTok will shut some stuff down. You understand? and so it's been crazy. But that video has hit 88,000 views.
Wow.
Hey.
88,000 views.
He about to blow up, and he gonna leave us behind, man. Come on,
never.
You already got my replacement, bro.
No. The crew comes with. No. The crew comes with. So 88,000 views over 16.5 thousand comments. I mean, some of them were ratchet, but they still got it done.
I'm telling you, I don't know if you have TikTok, and I got him on TikTok, but man, when I say it gets live, these people are live. They really for the cancel culture. That's the real cancel culture of TikTok. Like,
they shutting it down. All right, so let's get into it. So Dwayne, I'm assuming Dwayne is on his way, but if not, we're gonna get into the meat of the podcast and why we're here. Who I'm gonna bring to the stage right now? She was in the Going Down episode. What is it? The What's Going Down episode of That's My Mama. No, she wasn't in that. But she wasn't in that. But I will tell you this: the lady of the hour that we have on the podcast today, her name is Jamilah Corbett. Now, those of you who are watching me, and if you're familiar with Periscope at all, you're gonna know who this lady is. And while I'm gonna bring, you know what? Let me bring her on the camera. Hold on. Everybody, welcome Jamilah. She was a broadcast. Oh, I took her off. There she goes. So let me give my intro for Jamilah. Jamilah Corbett is the reason why I'm behind this mic. I want y'all to know that. Anything that I've ever done on social media, anything that I've ever done on Facebook, Periscope, any live stream, anything is all due to that lady sitting right there in my, I don't know where she is, left or right. But she is the reason why I'm behind this mic. I remember when I first started on Periscope, and I was in such a emotional time in my life, and I didn't know whether I was coming or going. I would sit on Periscope, and I would see her. It was her and a young lady by the name of Janine Cummings from London. And I don't care how bad a day I had. I don't care how much I had cried that day. No matter how much I had asked God to take the pain away that day, it didn't matter. When I opened up my Periscope app, I saw one of their faces. And she was the innovator of the Boom Squad on Periscope. and it was a bunch of us, and we was diehard Boom Squad. I mean, we were Boom Squad. She'll come in. She had a little gesture. So Jamilah, right quick, if you can go ahead and hit the boom for me real quick, please.
So you want me to boom?
Hit the
Is that what you're
boom.
saying? You want me to boom?
Hit the boom.
Do re mi fa sol la ti do. Here we go.
Man, and we used to live
I
for
haven't done that in years.
We used to live for that. And she also had a section called Contemplating Life for 2.5 seconds. Y'all don't remember that one? Because I'm diehard focused. Jamilah, so before I get into this intro with you, man, I want to thank you for who you are in my life. I don't want not one more day to pass by here and me not tell you what you have meant to me.
Oh, you gonna make me shed a little tear? You know, thugs don't cry, Terry.
That's not what you do, Mama. But still,
getting sentimental at the beginning of the show.
Thank you. That really touched the bottom of my heart, and that's one of the reasons why I did what I did. And people like you inspire me, believe it or not, because you just took the information and you ran with it. Like you're not only inspiring me, but you're inspiring probably a whole generation of people, and you're touching lives that you don't even know that you're touching just through your podcast. And I really appreciate the opportunity to come on here and fellowship with you and your fellas.
I appreciate it. I appreciate you being on, because you could have been anywhere in the world, but you're here with me, like Jay-Z say. All right, so just a little bit of a bio for Miss Jamilah, just in case you guys don't know her. She is a brand strategist, marketer, community builder, has a whole bunch of beliefs. We're going to get into all that later. And she's run digital marketing. She's had a couple of, I know she did. Do you still run IamAbrand.co?
It's up. Okay, so that's part of my story. So I transitioned out. I exited my business, but we can talk about that a little bit later in the show.
All right, but she's a startup enthusiast. She was the host of Mavericks on the Move on YouTube. I'm not sure if that before COVID hit. That was
it was a live. It was taped in front of a live studio audience in Baltimore, Maryland. So that was really fun, and I decided not to bring it online.
So, Mr. Jamilah, so just to introduce everybody on the panel, you know me. To your probably left is Ephraim Terrell. He no Facebook yet, but we're gonna get him now.
One day.
I'm messing with him. And Kevin the Great, Kevin Peoples out of Texas, and Mr. Dwayne Goodson down there, and with the green screen, he is from GA in the building. So everybody say hey to Jamilah real quick.
Hey,
Jamilah.
So we're gonna get into it. She has a lot of high points. She sent me a whole dossier over here, so we're gonna get to some of it.
I'm just so you know, Miss Jamilah. And I know he done spilled the beans on how he feel about you.
I haven't.
But the way he's built this foundation about how excited he was about Sunday is like this is already like a 20. And if it comes anything less than 20 on a scale to 10, then we didn't succeed. Because he like you like Michael Jordan mixed with Akeem Olajuwon with Shaq. With a little bit of LeBron James and with a little Dame time and Steph Curry mixed in.
Throw a splash of King Griffey Jr. on there.
Hey,
a little splash.
Let me get so Jamilah, a little disclosure. Last week I showed the guys when we was offline. I showed a picture of you. So that way they know who I was talking about, who I was gloating about the whole show. And so
you gonna let me go put a shirt back on, bro. Stop talking.
So it was one of your shirts. He was in the gym, and he was flexing, and so everybody was like, "Man, I don't even want to."
Man, she made me go on a diet.
Hey man, I'm telling you, she is
eating catfish and fried chicken over here.
That was some fan. I ain't eat none.
So I'm sure you guys have accumulated some questions. So my first question to you, Jamilah, is where'd you go? What happened?
Your first question is loaded. That's a loaded question, Terry. But I'm gonna answer it.
Okay.
I'm gonna answer it because I feel like, and this is one of the reasons why I wanted to come on your show, because I wanted to share the story of what happened and kind of where I went. And just letting you know that it was very intentional as to why I faded behind the scenes and just kind of sat back in the shadows. For one, I you were fine. You've been at A1 day one, A1, however you want to call it.
Yeah.
So you've seen the growth, you saw the progression, you saw how much momentum I was building. And honestly, at that point in my life, it went to my head. It all went to my head. And I started to develop this big ego. And it's funny when you talk about ego, it's so self-serving and it's so detrimental to like your personal growth that once I woke up from ego, it was like night and day. And I can't even explain how much clarity I got as to what happened in those. It feels like a whole blur. Those years that I was on live stream and I was getting the praises and adoration, it just feels like a blur. So once I woke up from that, I'm like, yo, what am I doing? Why am I here? And I realized that I wasn't serving the people that I really needed to serve, and that I wasn't growing in the way that I needed to grow. And I was only worried about vanity metrics. I was spending money that I shouldn't have been spending. And it's like I hit rock bottom emotionally, spiritually, any other way that you could hit rock bottom. I actually hit rock bottom and I just left. I left to regroup. I left to find myself. I left to rediscover my purpose and who I was. And in that absence, I was able to connect with me. I was able to connect with my higher self, spiritually, whether you want to call it God, whether you want to, whatever you want to call it, your higher self. But I was able to connect to a much greater and higher purpose. And because of that, I've been positioned right now for greatness. And eventually I will come back. Eventually I will come back in due time when the spirit calls me to come back. And that's one of the reasons why I wanted to just be part of your platform. Is I think this is a good foundation for me just to step in the waters a little bit, just to dip my toe in, like, oh, you know what, I kind of miss it. But you're a good dude, and you're surrounding yourself with good dudes and positive people overall, and I just want to be a part of that. And I wanted to share this story to tell people that it's okay for you to mess up. It's okay for you to go through mistakes, but it's not okay that you don't learn from those mistakes, because life has a way of teaching you lessons. And if you don't learn the lesson, you're bound to repeat the lesson until you learn it. And so for me, in my absence, I reflected on all the lessons that I had to learn over the course of those years that I was building my brand, building my influence, and really inspiring people. And no one knew that I was going through this behind the scenes. So you see people and they present this facade online, and it's like, oh yeah, it's all glitz, it's all glamour, and you see the glory, but you don't really know the story. You don't really know their history. And so I wanted to be naked. You see this shirt right here, #naked. This is part of my brand. And I wanted to share and really get #naked with you all, to share that it's always a light at the end of the tunnel, and it's okay to step away, to find yourself and to reposition yourself for greater purpose.
What woke you up?
So it was a series of things that woke me up, honestly. I realized that I wasn't, like, I was waking up and I was just unfulfilled in what I was doing, number one. Number two, the relationships and the people that I had around me, it wasn't, they were feeding into me. I realized they were feeding into me, but I wasn't feeding into them. So I'm like, what kind of friend am I? What kind of person am I? And I realized that I came to the realization that I didn't like the person that I was staring in the mirror. And I'm like, what is going on? And I just felt like live streaming and being on the internet and just all this stuff went to my head. But the crazy part is I feel like I'm supposed to inspire people. I'm supposed to speak. This is my gift. This is actually my gift to the world. And because this is my gift, it was self. When you have a gift, you're supposed to give freely. And I wasn't giving freely. I was giving, but expecting things in return. So I didn't like the person that I had became. And it really was kind of overnight. It really happened like that. It as quickly as I'm snapping my fingers, that's when I woke up and I was like, what am I doing? And then from there, I started to change.
Wow. What was the first thing you did when you like snapped out of it, so to speak? Like, what was the very first thing you imagine yourself doing and following through on?
I didn't. It was a step-by-step process. So first I had to confront myself. I had to realize I had to be okay with with what I've done. Like I had to forgive myself. So I guess step one is forgiveness. Like you have to forgive yourself for the mistakes that you made. You have to forgive yourself for the choices you've made. So step one is I had to forgive myself. And then from that forgiveness, then it's like, okay, what do I do next? How can I improve myself? What areas do I need to improve on? And what relationships do I need to build in order to fulfill my greater purpose?
Yeah. You know, that was one of the things when I used to watch you on Periscope. And I was just a fan. I was just in the back in the comment section. You know what I'm saying? She didn't really know me like that. But I was just in everything she did. You know, everything she did, I was there. In the background, I was in there. One of the things she used to do, fellas, is she used to do it every Friday. Used to call Scope Naked. And she would have people on, and people would come on and be transparent and truthful about what was going on in their life. And that is how I got my voice, by doing those. And that's how I started on Periscope. That's how I started doing this whole live streaming and not really caring what people thought about me. Because I remember when I first started Periscope, I used to say, ain't nobody listening to me. I'm ugly. I ain't got no story. I'm not just saying. It's like we're silly out here, but
hey, somebody loves you, baby.
For sure.
Hey, so Mila, have you thought about how you're gonna avoid it the second time around? You think you can catch it before? Yeah.
So now that I'm out of ego, I actually recognize ego. It's so repelling. Like I can recognize, like I look at shows and I'm like, oh, this person is an ego. Or I look at live streams and I'm like, oh, this person is an ego. Like I can easily recognize it now because I've been in it. And because of that, I've learned my lesson. I'm no longer interested in the fame and the adoration in the I don't care about any of that. That's why I haven't been online. The only things I care about is making a difference and doing right by the people that I love the most. Those are the things that I really do care about. And so if it's not in alignment with those things, then it really doesn't matter to me. So I had to prioritize and really shift my priorities into figuring out how can I make the most of these talents and skills that I have. And so I started focusing my efforts offline. So even though I'm not online, I'm not on live stream, I'm still impacting people through the work that I do, through the things that I launch. Like I developed my own talk show, Mavericks on the Move, which was an entrepreneurial focused talk show recorded in front of a live studio audience. And I decided not to bring that online because because I was really interested in tapping into that audience and really doing live events. So I think it's just about focusing my energy on what I feel that is the most impactful. So one day I'll be back, but I will be able to recognize ego, because ego also, even though it was, I say my downfall, it also served me, because I need ego to speak in front of a ton of people. I need ego to have this confidence that I have. So it does serve me, but I know when to let her out and when to put her back in her cage. And at first I didn't know how to do that. So now that I do, I think I have a good grip on ego, but it's always going to be my test, because it's like we have a positive and negative side, a yin and a yang. And so that's that's a contrast of me. It's like it's a dichotomy of me. So I have an ego, but on the other side of that ego, no one knows that I'm actually an introvert.
Yep.
Super introverted. I don't really like talking to people, even though you can't really tell, but I'm a social introvert. So it's like I have this dichotomy to me, but I know how to use ego to serve me.
Does your alter ego have a name? Like,
I was just going to ask
like
that.
Sasha Fierce? No.
Okay. So it's
no, I never named her.
Oh, okay. It ain't Sasha Fierce or nothing, is it? Okay.
Nah.
So staying off. I'm sorry. Go ahead, Dwayne. I'm sorry.
Oh, go ahead.
No, I was just gonna say, I've had that similar feeling, and what I equate it to now is we react differently to the same situation. Situations don't change, we do. And obviously you've talked to us and you've let us in a little bit about how you've changed. And you said you've still been working behind the scenes. So what does it look like when Jamilah steps back on the scene? Who is your audience? Who is your targeted audience? I know you said you have a sect of the people in your family, the people you love. Those are the people that matter the most to you. But are they the target, or you just want to make them pleased with you?
No, and I don't even this is gonna sound bad. I don't even care if they're pleased with me or not. Like their emotions don't determine my actions. But I would say that I don't have a specific target audience, and this is what I'm trying to figure out now. This is why I'm doing the things that I'm doing. I kind of have my hands in a couple of things, is because I'm trying to figure that part out. I do feel that I'm supposed to somehow inspire the next generation of leaders. I connect really well with kids. I connect really well with younger people, but I also connect with older people as well. Like I'm intergenerational. So I'm just trying to figure out where my talents can be best served.
Sounds like a bridge.
Sorry.
Yeah.
I don't like kids.
Yeah, I love that. Hey, I didn't say about like. I said they like me, but I did. Sometimes in dosages you have like I like giving them back as well. So like especially bad kids, you can have your kids.
I'll tell you what. So just switching gears a little bit, because you did send me some points. We want to get to a couple of those. You quit your job in 2012, right? Mm-hmm. And you have the entrepreneurship full time. Tell the people what it takes to be able to say, I'm out and I'm doing this.
Yeah, that's the question right there. That's it right there.
Yeah.
That's another loaded question, Terry. You always asking me these loaded questions, man. Like, it has like 10 parts to it. So when I decided to quit my job, I did so with, first of all, I didn't have any formal business experience. I just had this dream. I had this idea, and I was like, you know what? I can do this on my own. And I had managed to save up money over the course of those the years that I was working to be able to afford to quit my job. So I quit my job. And I dove into full-time entrepreneurship from 2012 to 2019. So we can talk about that time span, and then we can talk about the time span after. But between 2012 and 2019, I ran a digital marketing agency. And what I realized is that in order to be a successful entrepreneur, number one, you have to have tenacity. You have to be very tenacious, because you have this plan in front of you, but things don't always go according to plan. So you have to be tenacious. You have to be adaptable. You also have to be good with managing your money. I can tell you one of my downfalls was mismanaging my money, because when you start making a whole lot of money, it's like, oh yeah, I can do that. I can do that. I can do that. But I wasn't planning for rainy days, because maybe some months you can make 30,000, but the next month you may make zero. So you also have to develop a predictable income stream. So when you're thinking about your business model, figure out what can I charge for every month. So that's why you see the rise of subscription services, is because that's a predictable income stream. If you can predict your income, then you'll be able to scale a little bit better, because you can say, okay, I know I'm going to have 25 payments of $2,000 coming in every single month. And then from there, you can begin to scale your team. You can begin to scale your operations, and then understanding when to grow and when not to grow. So there's this thing called death by success. If you grow too fast and you don't have the proper processes or procedures in place, you don't
structure.
Yeah. You don't have the proper structure in place, you're going to fail. So that's death by success. But so you have to grow. You have to know when to grow and when to just kind of stay steady. So it's almost like the chicken and the egg problem. Some people have problems with the chicken and the egg, because now they're growing so fast, but they don't have the resources or the income to support their fast growth. So understanding that, it takes a lot of like skills. You have to self-learn. I taught myself business.
Should Terry start this OnlyFans or no?
You know what, Terry?
For that predictable income you were talking
about. Melissa waiting over in the side with the knife.
Doing something strange for a little piece of change, huh?
It's that predictable income.
While y'all playing, Melissa's over there. She over there like this right here.
And she's in the comment section. She's definitely watching.
She's over there like this right here. Play with it, Terry. Play with it.
I got you with your Neosporin just in case you get cut. I don't know how it works with stabbing.
Do what you got to do.
So you taking all this game and you putting it into these live studio audience shows that you're not putting online right now. I mean, but like you market it some kind of way, you get it out there, you have these shows, then you put it on, or are you spitting this kind of game in like different forms?
Yeah, so my show Mavericks on the Move is an interactive live talk show and networking experience, and that's on pause because of COVID. So I haven't done a show in about almost a year, and I'm okay, and I'm perfectly okay with that, because again, I'm in this season of letting go when it's time to let go, and starting things when it's time to start things. And I'm very obedient in the voices that the voices that I hear, and just my internal voice. So I also share my expertise on other forums. So doing that, and I'm always entrepreneurial, so I'm always starting stuff. I'm also so I started my business from 2012 to 2019, exited my business in 2019, and then I went through a year of transition when I was trying to figure out what I wanted to do. So we could talk about that after this point. But now what I do is I consult. So now I'm part of an organization that incubates startup ventures worldwide, mainly social development companies, provide seed funding and just helps them grow and scale. So I'm a consultant for these companies around the world. And so I'm able to share my expertise, share my years of experience in helping these companies grow and scale. So that's been pretty cool. I also, so if we backtrack, over the span of that year that I was trying to figure out what I was going to do in life, I was also a coach. So I coached basketball. Little known fact, I did play Division I basketball. So I love sports. Yeah. So I love sports. And so, and this is why I figured that I'm really good with kids, and I'm very good at interacting with kids as well. And I also participated in TEDx events, so I was able to stand on that red dot and deliver a speech in front of people. So I figure out ways to share my voice offline. And again, because I'm not vocal online, people think I've disappeared, but I haven't disappeared. I've just found myself, and eventually I'll bring all that offline stuff online and just share it with more people once I really figure out who I am, what I want to do, what's my purpose, and who I really want to serve.
Well, if you had to make changes, let's say if you had to go back in the past, what changes would you have made to where you can be, where you're comfortable? Comfortable you, what would you change?
Let's see. That's one of those questions that is hard to answer, because I don't know if I would change anything, because it made me the person that I am now. However, I think I always wish I would have known then what I know now, but hindsight is always 20/20. So I just think I would tell myself to really focus on people and figuring out how to serve other people. Like, if I could have gotten that lesson then I would have been in this position that I'm in now a little quicker. So instead of focusing on myself, focus on other people, because when you focus on other people, the blessings are going to come because you're not doing it for yourself.
Right.
So, like, because I'm not gonna lie, you sound like you should be one heck of a motivational speaker. You make me actually want to, invest my stimulus check into some y'all got going on. But what would you attribute your positivity from? Like, where did it come from your parents? Did it come from like a background that you noticed that needed a change? Where did that come from?
I don't know. I don't know. I really don't know. I'm going to be honest with you. I think it's just living. Like, I haven't had a hard life. I just have to be totally honest there. I grew up in a 2-parent household. We didn't have much at first, because my parents, they had me when they were in college, so they started from ground zero. So and I actually watched my parents build into the people that and grow into the people that they are now. And of course, I didn't know we were struggling, but we did struggle. And so, but my parents always gave me that shelter. They gave me that sense of security. And because of that, I've always been basically secure myself. Also, what people don't know is that I went to an Afrocentric middle school. And so being around, learning about myself and my culture with an African-centered curriculum, I was really rooted in who I really am and understanding my power. So when you can get that lesson early, when you understand your power and from whence you came, then you'll be able to spread that knowledge, that positivity to other people. So no one can kill my shine. I don't feel like anybody can kill my shine. The only person that can kill my shine is Jamilah, myself.
What pisses you off?
I don't know.
Tell him why you mad.
Nobody-
son.
nobody
Tell him why you
thinks
mad.
you
son.
I mean,
Hey,
no, oh
we didn't
no. Oh,
say it with your chest yet. Go ahead and say it with your chest. Go ahead.
okay. Let me. Come on now. Everybody
Yeah.
gets pissed off. Everybody pisses each other off at one point in time. But I think what really grinds my gears is dishonesty. Like
Mhm.
dishonesty really grinds my gears because there's no reason for you to be dishonest. Maybe you're dishonest because everyone has their reasons for being dishonest, but with me, it's really no reason to be dishonest. I feel like, and I guess everybody feels that way. So dishonesty really grinds my gears. Also, what grinds my gears is when my wife doesn't change the toilet paper and I'm sitting on the toilet and there's no toilet paper and I didn't check.
Oh man,
Like, here.
that's okay. My wife get mad at me too. Trust me.
Hey, look, when you got a wipe and there ain't no toilet paper there, that's a bad
rough.
feeling. That's a bad feeling.
I'm just saying,
A
you
lot
know,
of decisions you got to make.
I get chewed out for the under. How's it, the under or over? How you put the toilet paper?
Yeah.
Yeah,
I
you
get
gotta
chewed out for that.
gotta put it over.
You know.
Yeah.
Look,
I know your pain.
I'm good as long as it's there. As long as it's there, I'm good. But
that's
when
the
I'm
other
sitting
though,
on the
B.
toilet and I got to do this number, baby.
Yeah.
When I got to do
She
that,
don't
we
wanna
got
come in there
problems.
either. She don't want to come in there. Okay, so Jamilah, let's talk about let's talk about the after 2019, and you're going through this transition. What was that like? What did that look like?
I got a story to tell. So
Shoot
let
it.
me tell you.
Hey, yo,
Between 2019 and 2020, what exactly transpired. It might have been like at the end of 2018, so close to like November 2018 into 2020. So I realized, okay, my business this is no longer serving me. It's time to transition. It's time to move on. So there's a lot of stuff that happened. I ended up moving back with my parents. So I moved back with my parents, tail tucked in between my legs. I went through like this depression of, just woe is me, and what am I doing with my life? I felt like I was going through a death and rebirth. That's exactly what it felt like. And I was trying to figure out, what do I need to do? And I'm like, okay, so maybe I should start. I need to make some money. So what can I do to make some money? And I wasn't thinking about starting another business or anything like that. So I'm like, okay, I started. Fun fact: I applied for a job at Amazon to be an Amazon driver, and I went through the training. The training's 2 weeks. I was like, oh, okay, this seems kind of chill. I think I could do that. So applied to be an Amazon driver. I got accepted. Went through the 2 week training, and then comes the you actually have to start driving. So the first day, I'm like, oh no, I don't know if I can do this. I don't know if I can do this. Second day comes, and I was like, yeah, I'm definitely not going to do this. And so I quit after 2 days.
Oh, wow.
So I worked for Amazon for 2 weeks and 2 days.
2 days. Oh, wow.
2 weeks and 2 days.
Great.
And then I was like, okay. So my mom worked in the DC public school system. She was recently retired after 31 years of service, and she still had connections in the DC public school system. So she hit up one of her friends and mentors, and he was head of a charter school, and he was like, hey, this would be a good opportunity to work with kids, and these are at-risk youth, okay? And he's like, listen, you could come in, you'll only be working in the evenings, and you'll still have your whole day, and you'll get a salary. And I'm like, this don't sound that bad, right? Wrong.
Right. Oh.
Wrong.
Oh,
So
no.
I started working with these kids. These are troubled youth. They had a lot. Some of them had very deep trauma history, and so I understand their behaviors and their attitudes, and just they were carrying a chip on their shoulders. So I empathize with that. But that was not for me. I hated this job. So my official title was house parent. Okay, house parent. So at the end of the day, so one of my jobs was at the end of the day, you pick them up from school. So it was dormitory. Right. So they stayed at school. It's a boarding school. So they would stay at the school, and we pick them up from school. And then in the evening, they're basically my kids. So I had a whole house of kids, 6 kids, that girls that me and one of my partner, my house parent partner, was responsible for, these 6 kids. And so we had to make sure they were fed. We had to make sure their homework was done. Of course, they give you all the tools that you need to succeed. So we had supplies. They provided food for you. So it was free room and board. And so, number one, this got me out of my parents' house. I'm like, okay, this is kind of cool because it gets me out of my parents' house. I have a whole room there. But on the flip side of that is when you stay there, you actually have to stay with these kids. And I'm like, these kids are bad. So I wasn't getting no peace. No peace. However, there was a lesson. I feel like there was a lesson that I had to learn through this. So number one, here are the lessons that I was able to learn, because I had to go through that to get to where I am right now. So the lessons that I had to learn is, number one, it was a very humbling experience because now I'm working for someone else. I had a boss. So I had a director that I had to answer to. And I'm like, oh, I got a boss. When you're an entrepreneur for several years, like you don't really answer nobody. So now you have a boss. That was a hard pill for me to swallow. So I had to humble myself. I had a boss, but I was a very good worker, which is good. Like I applied my entrepreneurial experience into the job that I was doing. So one of the things that I did is I created processes for my house. Like I had these kids on a schedule, like boom, 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 boom. This thing was running like a well-oiled machine. Even though they had this trauma history, we set expectations. We had different rules and guidelines that they had to abide by. Like I ran it kind of like a business, and this was my strength. Like I was budgeting to make sure we had enough money to do certain things. So all of the skills that I had, I was able to apply to this job. So it was one of those experiences that I need because it humbled me. It helped me transfer my skills, and it helped me look at things in a different way. In addition to, I was able to really pour into these kids and impact them in a way, and really touch them in a way that I wouldn't ordinarily be able to really reach a kid. So that was a very good experience as well. Another thing that I learned over the course of working at this place is that sometimes things don't go according to plan. So you may have a plan, and I'm very like structured, and it's like A, B, C, D. Like I dot all my I's, I cross all my T's. And so when you're dealing with kids, not everything goes according to plans because they're kids. I'm like, listen, it is 6:15. Your chores need to be done. Like I'm that person, and I was like, hold on, these are kids. This isn't the military. This isn't boot camp. So allow them some grace and flexibility. So it really taught me grace, how to allow grace to other people, and really look at things from an omnidirectional lens, because sometimes you don't know what other people are going through, and what those people are going through affects them every single day. So it really made me a more empathetic person, which will help me become a more empathetic leader. It made me see things from other people's perspectives and really take into account what are they not telling me? What are the things that I need to take into account in my decision making that I'm not seeing? So yeah, it taught me a lot of lessons. And I know I keep hammering on and on and on, so feel free to stop me at any time.
It is quite all right. I don't know if you guys know it, Jamilah has a hidden talent that she can cook. So one of the things I wanted to ask you, because you did a cooking show.
Oh, you think I could cook? Thank you. No. You're the only person in the world that think I can cook.
You used to do a cooking show. This is probably off kilter here, but you did a cooking show with Valencia. Donna McDougal. What was her name?
Daniel.
Wow, how did I get
Valencia
that back?
Daniel.
So whatever happened to that cooking show? Y'all used to burn in the kitchen. What happened with that?
Yeah, so that was part of that was still part of my transition phase where I was like,
yeah, she really.
When I tell you I let go, I had to let go. That included the things that I was doing, and towards the end of the cooking show, I wasn't towards when I decided to let go. I just wasn't feeling it. Like I was like, why am I doing this? What purpose is this serving? So I really had to answer those questions for myself. And at the conclusion, it was like, I don't think this is right.
But Mila, when you jump back into it, you're gonna drive the metrics, right? You're gonna still try to push to make sure your show is successful through stats, right?
Oh,
So
of
like,
course.
what's that balance looking like? Like, you know, you're just gonna check it a little bit, then put it down. Like,
Yeah, I think there needs to be balance with anything, and before I didn't have balance. So of course I'm gonna when I'm in something, I'm all in. But it's also setting those boundaries to where it doesn't consume me. I think before it consumed me, and I was just checking. Now, like I have Facebook on my phone, I have apps on my phone, but I don't have notifications on. I hop in and out when I want to, and I like that feeling of being free. Before
yeah,
I just felt so tied to my phone and tied to the metrics, and I just hated it. So over
Right.
these last couple of years, I've realized on how I can release that. Like I had to release that feeling and release that desire to drive the numbers.
Well, if I may, you were talking about you were talking about how you was driving in the kind of a follow up with what E just asked. When you were in the thick of things, when your ego was being inflated, especially I'm gonna assume like 2012 to 13, 14, when you were blowing up and your name was the topic of discussions from time to time. What was there a place that you felt obligated to interact and respond with people who, when you hit your height, you really didn't have time because the scale had grown and it wasn't on the individual? Not saying that you didn't have individual interaction, but when you started to the your pinnacle, was there a time or a place in there where you felt overwhelmed and it's like, okay, yeah, I know y'all supported me, but I just don't have time? If
No.
that makes sense.
Yeah, no, I get what you're saying. No. And I think that's and that was one of the things that made me unique, is that I believe in scaling the unscalable. So I believed in learning. Like Terry will tell you, when you hopped into my Periscope, it'll be like tons of people in there, but
Yeah.
I would say your name and I
Mhm.
would somehow remember your name. So when you came back, I would be like, "Oh, what's up, Terry?" But
Yeah.
Terry, his was like a Bulls fan. I think that was his moniker
Yeah.
on
There's,
Periscope.
yeah.
Terry
Yeah,
Bulls
yeah. And
fan.
I'm like,
Bulls
"Oh,
fan.
what's good, Terry?" Like I would know who you are, so that gave people that created that warmth. And as I grew, I kept that flavor, because that's my flavor, making people feel special, making people feel heard. And as I continue to grow, and when I come back, I still plan on learning people, understanding people, and trying to scale the unscalable, which is responding to messages and thanking people for coming, because I think we take for granted our audience. Like, you can be
Yeah.
anywhere in the world, but you're right here with me, and I appreciate that. So I think doing the little things, I will never stop doing those things.
Did you steal that, Terry, by the way?
What?
What
No,
she
Probably.
just said.
that's Jay Z line, bro.
That's Jamilah's line.
No, contemplating life for 2.5 seconds. That's Jamilah's line.
Hey, she said don't be giving her flowers a hoe. He got enough.
And I'm telling you, a lot of. I'll tell you what. I will say this about what I took from Jamilah. My mannerisms, how I flow on the camera and the mic, is when it comes back on. Maybe there he goes. Okay, so how my mannerisms, how I hold my hands, how I say, and I speak to everybody in the comment section, or when they come in or whatever. That's Jamilah. All of that is from Jamilah, because I had no idea how to do that, because I started doing Periscope when I was in a dark place. And I remember having a conversation with her. I went into one of her lives one time, and she said, "Do it scared."
I said that.
Yeah, do it scared.
That's
Yeah,
cool.
you said that.
There's a lot of things I said that I don't remember. And I think, Terry, you really reminded me, and thank you for this. Thank you for allowing me on your platform, because it really reminded me of, even though I feel like that was ego, like I was in ego so bad, I feel like there's good things. There's these positive moments that came out of that people really resonated with, and I really appreciate that. Those moments in time, like I said, those moments helped create me. And I feel like because I had that, because I experienced that, now that I know what it is, I'm able to really come back in a more impactful way, because I, like people like you really took the message and you ran with it. Even though I was an ego, like there was somehow I was spitting some type of wisdom that you grasp towards.
Right.
You feel effective in what you're doing now?
Oh yeah. Yeah. I feel very fulfilled, and I feel good about where I am right now. Like, I'm also pursuing my MBA. Even though I ran a business, I'm pursuing my MBA. So that's gonna open more doors for me. And right now I'm learning, I'm soaking up game. I'm just in this phase of just growth, reflection, and learning. And I'm doing as much as I can right now, because when the time is right, put those in quotes, when it's time for me to come back, I'm gonna come back with a bang. And I just know that will be the time, that'll be my time. Before, it wasn't my time. I thought it was, but it wasn't my time, because now it's on God's time.
You know, you are the epitome of something that I say all the time, and I tell people, it's never the falling down in life that makes you who you are. It's the getting up. And so when I hear your story and how you come and you went through the ego phase and you had to go back to mom and dad's, and
that was humbling.
Shout out to Mama House. Mama House done came through big time.
Mama, let me tell you something. Her mama is the coolest. I hadn't seen her in years, but she was the coolest. She would come on Periscope every now and then, or she would do a live with her mama. She was the coolest. How's your brother, by the way?
Oh, yeah, I have two brothers. They're good. You know, my youngest brother, he's graduated from college. And
yeah, he was in school.
He's doing really well. Yeah, he's out now.
Oh man!
So you're the oldest.
Yeah. I'm a trailblazer.
So did you bust heads as a kid?
Yeah, I don't like older sisters either. Yeah,
yeah, you
older
have
sisters and kids. Both
I don't know. Did you bust some? Did you bust some heads? Did you bust?
So yeah. So with I have a brother that's behind me. Oh yeah, me and him used to fight all the time. But my youngest brother, he's like my mini me. That's the one that I really like loved as a kid. I'm like, oh, this is my little bit, because I was old enough to appreciate him. My other brother, he came along and he stole my shine. I didn't really like him, but now we're best friends.
Oh man, listen, with Jamilah, I for the second time, I really do appreciate you being here. I want you to hang tight, because we have a segment that we do called the Knucklehead of the Week. We're gonna get into that, and so I would absolutely love for you to chime in on this. So let me run my little segment here. I think it's this one. I always forget which one it is. This one.
Get ready, cause it's.
I do it every week. I'm gonna get it together. Now it's time for the Knucklehead of the Week with your host, D Good. All right, this is your favorite section of the podcast here. And for my audio listeners, this will be live on Tuesday across all social media. All podcasting platforms. So if you have Alexa in your house, all you got to say is, Alexa, play the Knucklehead Chronicles podcast, and it will play the latest episode. I promise you it will. All right. So Dwayne, Knucklehead of the Week. We both know who it is. They probably don't, but you're on mute.
You're right. I am on mute. So before we get to the Knucklehead of the Week, I would like to give a shout out to somebody who probably will be considered a strong 1A. I don't know if you guys are gossipers or you like hearing gossip, but last night Kirk Franklin and his son got into an argument.
Yeah, I heard about that.
Now I'm not calling Kirk the knucklehead, because none of us are perfect, and we all
Kirk
fall down,
man.
But Kirk went all the way in, and his son decided to record him while they was having a conversation. And I'll just say that Kirk dropped some stuff that I haven't heard since my mom was diagnosed with Alzheimer's. Like Kirk, he had some stuff for your ears. But needless to say, Kirk is not the Knucklehead of the Week. My boy Terry and him going viral. Shout out to my boy on TikTok, 88,000 plus and growing.
Oh God.
He brings up a subject that's near and dear to my heart. That's why I wore my former shirt. I ain't in this no more. But the partner, Terry, I didn't know we grew up so close to each other. You know that? When I saw that the photograph was taken at Richmond County High, that was the first time I got a concussion in the game. Back then, we didn't call them concussions. We called them you got your bell wrong.
Right.
But yeah, y'all used to play grown men. I was a JV football player, and there was a dude that looked just like me on the other side of the ball, and I was like, he ain't in the ninth grade. There ain't no way. But without further ado, Terry's hometown has a guy by the name of Officer Thomas Lucky.
That beautiful being.
Now, I'm gonna first of all, this is from his LinkedIn account. He works with drug interdiction and the ICE task force over there in Wadesboro and Anson County. Now, if you know anything about unjust laws or crime disparity, there's a huge difference when it comes to crack and powder and so on and so forth. And when you got a guy that's as gun-ho and as such a great guy like Mr. Lucky, you oftentimes wonder, is people seeing the same thing we see? Why is it that we can complain and see these things and they don't? So instead of me doing a lot of talking right now, I'm going to allow the people of good old Anson County to do the talking. So let me take my mics, my earbuds out so you guys can hear this footage.
All right, hold on. Boom. Roll it.
Borough Police Chief says they're investigating one of their officers seen flashing in a family photo, but many people in this community say it is time for that officer.
I was shocked that he did it so late. I wasn't shocked that he did it so late.
How old are they? In this photo, Sergeant Thomas Lucky throws up the white power symbol while taking a senior night picture with his son on the soccer field at Richmond Senior High. But for many in the Wadesboro community, the image captures much more.
It's been going on too long.
County Commissioner Vancine Sturdivant says there's a long history of racist allegations against Lucky. He was recently caught on video using racial slurs against young black men and on administrative leave.
Well, he should have been terminated then.
24 people showed up to talk to us about their encounters with Lucky. Experiences, they say, range from beatings to racial profiling, unwarranted traffic stops and searches, and unlawful arrests where charges were later dropped. For some neighbors, just talking about those experiences is painful.
Something needs to be done about him. We shouldn't be on the force working because his job is to protect and serve, and that's not what he's doing.
For many in the Wadesboro community, the display of white supremacy makes them fearful for their safety.
I could leave home going to work and not come home.
And the safety of their black children.
Our complaints are falling on deaf ears. And we're just helpless. Like, we're hurt. We're angry. The only thing we can do is deal with it.
Nurse Tamara Garrett says the people who he is supposed to protect and serve don't feel protected at all.
We're not asking anything of him other than to live up to the oath that you took. And if you can't, then step down from your job. Please, sir, and thank you.
Reverend Judy Little wants to see action. She wants her community to heal because she fears what could happen next.
We're going to have another George Floyd, and we don't want that in Anson County.
In Anson County, Sturdivant says this can no longer be tolerated or swept under the rug.
That mayor, the chief of police, it's time something be done.
Now, I did ask the police chief for an interview. He would only send a statement saying they're taking this issue seriously and it is a confidential matter. Richmond County Schools tells me because this happened at a school sporting event, they did speak to the parents involved. I asked if those parents were going to be banned from future school events. Haven't received a response. Back to you.
And just to add in there, found 10 years worth of complaints, whether it's posting boards, messages boards, Facebook, where people have specifically called out Officer Thomas Lucky and talk about how he is as a person and as an officer. And just 2 months ago, he snatched a black male from South Carolina attending church in Anson County out of his car, made slurs in front of his wife and children, and was never given a ticket. So, hey, Anson County, thank you. No, thank you.
Come on, that was yeah. So I'm going to get started with it because that is what had me on a 3 or 4 day tirade, and so that's home, dog. That's home.
But let me shout Terry out because I don't think you guys understand how instrumental I personally believe he was. Terry, what date was it when you dropped your TikTok?
Friday
I think it was the day of, right? Yeah.
So you dropped it on Friday.
Yeah.
3 days ago was the first time somebody outside of you online posted about it. And then on top of that news story, that was from 2 days ago. So you beat people who live there to the punch. So shout out to my boy.
And you know what else is funny about that? Is that that I got a call the night I heard about it on Thursday. I did the TikTok on Friday morning. So Thursday I did a Facebook Live, and that was that. And then Friday morning I did the video. I get an inbox from the police chief of police in Waysboro. He inboxes me and says, "Hey man, I need to talk to you. Call me."
No, you need to talk to Lucky. Call him.
Chief of police?
No private meetings though.
What you calling me for? What you want me to talk to you? What you want to talk to me for? So being the man that I am, I heard him out. I called him up, and I said, "What's going on?" And he was like, "Yeah, I just want you to understand that we're investigating, and he said it was the hand game or whatever." Man, please save that. And why are you on my phone with this nonsense? That all you need to do is protect your community, my home. My grandma still lives there. My granddaughter still lives there. I need for this to be rectified, And so then Channel 9, the media outlet that you just showed, they went back yesterday, and did a town hall meeting down there. And so more of the community showed up after I did a Facebook Live, and I was imploring the community, use your voice. You have this chance. Get this man out of here. You just got to use your voice. And so they did a town hall. And we're still waiting the outcome of what's going to happen. He is currently suspended, but we all know what suspension means. So
with pay,
yeah. So, okay, what you have? I know you said you had something after that.
Man, all right, y'all know we didn't do a segment of "Say It With Your Chest," which we started on, but I got to get this off my chest. It follows along exactly with everything. And again, congratulations to Terry on going viral with something that needed to be seen and shown and heard. If you go into the comments, you get some ignorant people,
man.
And one of the things that I got was, "Oh, how do you know it wasn't like you said the hand game or the okay sign?" Notice I said people used to go, "Okay, that is not what that's for."
If I do this, what am I doing,
man?
Doing the gang.
I'm a blood.
Yeah, blood. Yeah, exactly.
What it is.
People call a spade a spade. This dude is a racist. He needs to get up out of there, man, and stop making excuses for the dude. That is not okay. That is not okay. You don't say, "Oh," I don't see anybody that has ever said that comment. I was hoping Terry would catch on to that comment and make a stitch or something.
That young man took his stitches off. I had a lot of people like that. But I want people to understand this. If you're not educated now, and somebody correct me if I'm wrong here, that particular the OK symbol was turned into was what's the word? Branded as a hate symbol back in 2017 from the American Defamation League. Because the Proud Boys picked it up back in 2017 and decided to use that and then flip it upside down and made it a racist symbol. That's the reason why. And because I remember playing that game in school. The OK gang. If you put it below your waist and they look, you get to punch them in the arm and all that. I remember that.
Yeah.
However, the way society is set up in this art, you can't do that now. I mean, but they were very proud, and so there were a lot of people that came in my inbox and was looking for the wife because she did it too. They both flashing. You know what I'm saying? And so the son in the picture looked terrified, but there's a picture of him flashing it too. But the way he's flashing it in the picture is
he was flashing it.
Yeah, but he was flashing like the game. Like somebody taking the picture, he had it below his waist, intentionally below his waist. You know, like, hey, look. So it was like that. So that's how you know the difference. But this has got to change. It's too many. And I was surprised. I went from, you know, nobody not knowing my name on TikTok to 88,000 people. It's like the video. I mean, so it was like, okay. So and Miss Corbett lives in DC. So I can only imagine what, you know, goes down in there. But here's what I wanted to ask you, Jamilah. January 6th. What was that like?
Oh man, it was chaotic and it was a lot of calamity in the city. I couldn't believe my eyes. I really couldn't believe my eyes. I was like, oh my gosh, what's happening downtown? And I'm thankful that I don't live close to the White House or downtown, but there was a lot of unrest happening, and I wasn't really surprised. Honestly, it doesn't surprise me that that's what happened because they've been saying this is what we're going to do. We're not legitimizing the election. It's Trump needs to be back in office. Like, I don't know if you remember, Terry, I used to do live streams about this, about white supremacy and black issues on Facebook Live. Like, you could look at my Facebook page, my public figure page, and you can see some of the talks that we've had. So I'm not really surprised by it, but I will say that it was a lot of unrest. There was a lot of people that were scared. I wasn't scared, but it was a lot of people that were. Yeah. I think that if we do have a serious problem in America, and just to piggyback off of what you guys were saying, the FBI knows that white supremacists have infiltrated law enforcement. They did a study research back in 2013. They released a whole report. You can look at FBI.gov and find the report. So we know that it exists, and it's like white supremacists have infiltrated every area of human activity. So education, legislation, law enforcement. So we have to replace the system of white supremacy with the system of justice. So I'm not surprised that that's happened, and the whole OK symbol and the things that are happening these days. It doesn't surprise me.
And so I'm gonna read a couple of comments here before we get into our because what I'd like to do, Jamilah, at the end of the show, you're gonna close us out. I'm gonna give you the single screen, and you're gonna give us that final thought of the show. How the people can reach out to you if you want them to, and what's next for you, and an inspirational word. But before we get into that, comment by my honey. She says people should be okay and willing to know that times change, and what once was isn't anymore. This is the same thing as what happened to the swastika. MSK said, a hand game, always excuses. Racism needs to be fired. Too dangerous to give the benefit of the doubt. His manifest in brutality and worse against people of color. When leaders don't do this, realize they're okay with it. And according to the police chief, he says he's just, and as a matter of fact, he was inboxing me as we were doing our show.
Today?
Right now. Yeah. So
he must be following you.
Oh no!
He is now.
Either that or your screen is bugged.
This is the chief of police.
But can I also wait after you? No, I'll go. You read that first.
Okay. And he's like, so I asked him about the town hall meeting. It's supposed to be a special meeting to decipher whether or not Officer Lucky was going to get disciplined or either terminated. He said it was a budget meeting, not a meeting for this investigation. Because I asked him in that town hall, why were you not there? You are the chief of police. Why were you not there? The sheriff, you know, he's African American as well, but he wasn't there either. But the chief of police, if you care about the community, you were not there. this is how things get misinterpreted. If people would stay in contact with what's going on in their community, they would have known. But you know what? Okay, because
and before you even get that because I already see the level of pistivity that you
you know my nerves. You get on my nerves.
So I'm gonna read an anonymous comment to that news story that I ran, right?
Okay.
This is an anonymous comment, but this shows why and how this still is perpetrated in every aspect of society today, right? Thomas Lucky is the most outstanding officer I've ever seen. He is the most polite officer on the force. You may dislike him. It's due to them disrespecting him. He brings a great revenue to the city, a great revenue. That means he's writing a lot of tickets. But I digress. He brings a great revenue to the city and works well with all the officers in the county, but they don't make mention of all the civilians in the county. Okay. All around, he is the best officer in Wadesboro. Has the only problem is the chief dislikes him because he gets the spotlights. And everyone else dislikes him because they're doing something illegal. If you are on the up and up, he is a 100% gentleman. Hats off to Thomas Lucky, outstanding officer. If you can say that and fix your fingers to type any of that after seeing and hearing all the eyewitnesses and all the past complaints, you, my friend, are part of the problem.
No, I'll do you one better. They're not part of the problem. He's superior. It was somebody on his family or somebody he knew that wrote that. That's what that is. Let's just call it what it is.
That's why it's anonymous.
You know, what you got, E?
I just don't know. I just don't know enough about it to really jump on it. It seems like the same old. I just want to hold my peace. But I say this just on the controversial tip. Everybody gonna hold their own down. They don't make it right, but I'm just saying they're gonna hold their own officer down. So that whoever wrote that deed, like they're gonna be behind their man. You know what I'm saying? But they don't, and it's hard for them to see it because if they rock with him like that, and he's a racist, what does that make me?
Cognitive dissonance is a beast, isn't it?
Isn't it though? Coming from a former, my honey said, coming from a former officer. Amen, Dwayne. Amen, Kevin. Yeah. Clearly, it's someone from his corner. He's got to stay face. All right. So, at the end of the show, we want to thank everybody who came through, shared, commented, threw an emoji, all of that. But before we go, I'm going to give my guest the final say before she steps out. So, let me single screen her real quick, and then
break it down.
You have the floor.
Take it away.
Oh, I'm on single screen. Well, thank you so much for allowing me to be here. Thank you for allowing me to fellowship and just share a piece of my story. And I really appreciate all of you. If you want to get in contact with me, I'm Jamilah Corbett on all platforms. That's JamilahCorbt on all platforms. I'm on Twitter, LinkedIn, Facebook. I have a personal profile and a public figure profile. And eventually one day I will come back to live streaming. I think this was a great foundation, a great introduction to live streaming again. So thank you so much for the opportunity. And I want to leave you with this thought: do everything on purpose and with purpose. We all have this internal guidance system that we need to listen to. And then when we don't listen to that internal guidance system, sometimes things may happen and we're not listening to our gut. And when we don't listen to our gut, then that's when bad things happen. So just trust yourself, trust your instincts, and again, do everything on purpose and with purpose. Thank you so much.
And with that being said, man, we're going to step on out of here. You guys have a great rest of your day. Like I said, this will go live audio on Tuesdays across all all podcasting platforms. And we'll see you guys next week. Actually, next week we're going to be an hour or so later. I'm going to have Pastor Greg and Michelle Mastella on next week talking about love languages. So if you got a problem in your relationship and you want to get it back on and popping, that's what you want to be here next week. All right. But until then,
love got to do.
Hey, to Jamilah for those baby Yodas in that ground. I appreciate that.
I love Baby Yoda. Wait, hold on. Look.
I didn't even see Yoda. Hold on. Where's Yoda?
It's not Baby Yoda. My bad. It's Baby Yoda. He has a name.
He has a name.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
All right. You guys have a great one. We'll see you guys next week.
Ladies and gentlemen, let's get